Hi Henrik.
Hi Jesper.
Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you.
I've known you for quite a while, and you have some really interesting background in the music industry, which was basically why I wanted to do this interview with you.
My name is Henrik Fuglesang. I have worked in the music business for nearly 20 years. Today I represent Believe Digital in some of the Nordic countries. Before that I have been at several labels in the publishing business. Over the last 10 years I have specialized in digital distribution, also in analytics and how to get the best out of services like Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music. Like that. Data is important more than ever, and analytics data is very important. It's important for the artist, also for the management, but also to understand for the artist and the management how the services use their data. Because services like Spotify, Apple Music, they also look into the data from day to day and from hour to hour to understand how the music is used by the end user. So it's very important. For the artist and also for the management, the data is important, but it's also important to understand that it's not only Spotify delivering data. So having a Spotify for artist profile, yes, that's a good idea, but it's more interesting to see into a system where the data from all the music services is combined, because some of the artists have a big audience in Spotify, but other have a big audience on Deezer. So it's a good idea to choose an aggregator or to choose a label who are able to deliver data from all services instead of only focusing on Spotify. I think it also is important for the artist to have an eye on the data, to understand how the users listen to their music from day to day. Because for an artist interested in data, it's much better to get new users, to get new fans, to understand how they listen to the music and what they want and how they want it. For those artists who are interested in data, they will win on the long term because they understand what is working and what doesn't work. One of the most interesting things if you look into data is to understand why and how users save your music on their own playlists, because that's interesting. It could be a big challenge to be on playlists at Spotify or Apple Music, but to begin with. But the most interesting thing in data is if you make some kind of music and you see that the end users save it on their own collections. This is very useful data. You know you have some very engaged fans.
Yeah.
Back in the days you needed a label, often and label working globally with your music. Today you can do it by yourself and you can start focusing on just releasing the music, and after 2 or 3 weeks you can dig into the data and find out which territories are my key territories. Where are people listening to my music? Where am I growing as musician? And then start to focusing. Also back in the days you had a lot of money using for promotion and you put it into the market, but you couldn't see precise the outcome. Now you can see it from hour to hour and from day to day.
And that is something that is actually really good with Warm, for example, that you can, if you hire a radio promoter to do radio promotion and he will spam out the entire country, all the radio stations, you now actually have the possibility of controlling his work and at the same time seeing if something is emerging in other markets that maybe he didn't even have anything to do with.
Yes.
I think that's really interesting and new development.
If you combine data for streaming, download, marketing, rival engagement, social media and radio, you have the best cards, because then you know specific how to advertise for your own music and how to reach your fans.
You get the full picture.
Yes,
360.
the full picture. I think the best thing for the artists and for the musicians is to try to dig into the data and try to understand it. Find the most regional data for them, which are the most important for them. Find a way to use the data, because there's not one rule, because it's different from artist to artist and musician to musician how to use all those data. But the most important thing right now is to keep an eye on the data and have to be interested in the data. That's maybe one of the most important things. Yeah, look into the data and try to understand the data. Also to understand where the end users are. And when you tell the fans about, or the end users about your music, make it easy for them to understand how to find it, how to use it, how to collect it, and also be clear in your communication.
So if we should sum up here today, what would be your 3 best advice for upcoming bands and artists?
Yeah. Number 1, make some great music, of course. Number 2, find your target group and be clear in your communication. And number 3, collect the data and dig in it and try to understand how to get a broader audience.
Henrik, thank you very much for taking your time here today. I know you're busy with all 3 countries. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.